Thank you. Could you please introduce yourself to the members of the jury?
Hello, my name is Mike Molden.
What is your current assignment with the Harris County District Attorney's Office?
I am a lieutenant investigator with assigned to the Major Offenders Division.
And how long have you been doing that?
At with Major Offenders?
Yes, sir.
About 4 years now.
And we just heard from Captain Jimmy Turpin. Is he your supervisor in Major Offenders?
Yes, ma'am, he is.
I want to go back to February, March timeframe of 2017. Was Captain Jimmy Turpin your supervisor back then?
Yes, he was.
And without saying what was said, did it come to your attention that the District Attorney's Office would be participating in an investigation involving an individual by the name of Leon Jacob?
Yes.
And did you work with the Houston Police Department in that investigation?
Yes, I did.
Okay, what was your role initially during the beginning stages of this investigation?
I was called on February 23rd by Captain Turpin and basically assigned the case to assist. The following day, I researched Mr. Jacob as well as some information I was given by Captain Turpin.
Okay. Did you begin looking for an individual by the name of Zach?
Yes.
Talk to us about your investigation and trying to determine the identity of this Zach.
I had the name Zach, and a possible phone number that belonged to Zach, and I began researching that phone number in various databases and reports and stuff that we have access to.
Were you able to come up with a lead in determining who or what the real identity of Zach was?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay. Eventually, were you able to determine what his real name was?
Yes.
Do you recall about the date that you were able to determine the correct identity of Zach?
February 28th is when I identified the identity of Zach.
Okay. Once you identified Zach, did you make efforts to contact him?
Yes.
Okay. And once you identified the true name, what was that name?
Montrose Azi.
Were you able to make contact with him?
I was.
Do you recall the date that you made contact with him?
March 6th.
Okay. 2017?
Yes, 2017.
Where did you initially make contact with him?
At a Starbucks on the west side of Houston.
Did you, without saying what was said, did you talk to him at that Starbucks?
I did.
And after you talked to him, where did you go?
Back to our office. Brought him back to our office to talk to him in a more official capacity in the interview room.
When you meet him at Starbucks, who's present for that interview?
It was myself and my partner at the time, Brian Powell, and Montrose Azi.
Was that statement recorded?
Not in the one in the car. No, it wasn't. We were just talking to him.
And when you say in the car, is that a car in the, I assume, the parking lot of Starbucks?
Yes.
Okay, and so then you mentioned you took him back to the district attorney's office. What was the purpose of that?
Just to get a recording of his statement and of what had happened and taken place up to that point.
And did you take a statement from him?
Yes, I did.
Okay. After taking a statement from him, did you obtain some property from him?
I did the following day.
Okay, so on March the 7th, 2017, you obtained property from him.
Yes.
And what property did you obtain from him?
It was 2 watches and 2 appraisals that he had given me.
Okay. And did I ask you to bring those with you to court today?
Yes, you did.
Once you took possession of those from Zach, what did you do with them?
I packaged them and placed them into our property room, the Harris County District Attorney's Office property room, with an evidence tag and logged them in.
Did you also obtain an additional item from Zach?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Was that on the same day that you obtained the watches and the appraisal from him, or was that on a different day?
That was a different day later on.
Okay. Did you learn about this additional item from Zach or from someone else?
From someone else.
Okay. And then did you go back to Zach and ask him about this additional item?
Yes.
Okay. What was that additional item?
It was a ring.
And did you bring that with you to court as well today?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Is this the ring that you went back and obtained from Zach?
Yes, it is.
At some point during this investigation, did you leave town?
Yes,
Okay, so did you take vacation?
I did.
So you and Captain Turpin, did you take turns taking vacation?
We did. It was spring break, and we both had vacations already planned.
Okay. So when you left town, did you miss out on the investigation portions that occurred at Olive Garden and then also at the Willowick? Or just the Willowick?
Just Willowick. I believe I was still in town for the Olive Garden, but I was not present at Olive Garden.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the meeting that occurred at Olive Garden. Prior to that, were you part of the team that arranged the Olive Garden meeting?
Yes.
How did that meeting come to fruition?
After locating Montrose, we had him. He made a telephone call to Mr. Jacob, and the meeting was arranged at that point.
Were you present for that telephone call?
I was.
Where did that telephone call take place?
Inside my vehicle.
And who else was inside the vehicle with you?
It was myself, HPD Officer Javier Duran, and Montrose.
What was the date that that phone call took place?
That would have been on March 7th.
So that would be Tuesday of that week, if you remember.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. So during that conversation, you're present, the undercover officer's present, and then the person you identified, Zach, to be, is present.
Yes, that's correct.
Are you able to hear both sides of the conversation?
I am. It was on speaker.
And is that conversation recorded?
Yes, it was.
Who was recording the conversation?
Officer Duran recorded the conversation.
During that conversation, were you listening to what was being said between Zach and the defendant, Leon Jacob?
Yes, I could hear both sides.
And going into this conversation, how many complainants were involved in this case?
Going into the conversation, there was one target, one complainant involved.
And who was that?
That was Megan.
Okay. And then after this conversation, how many complainants are potentially involved?
There was two.
Okay. Talk to us about how that came about.
During the conversation, Mr. Jacob had made a comment about taking care of both problems, which led us to believe there was two people that were targets now.
Okay. So initially, when you all become involved in the investigation, was it your belief there was just one target?
Yes.
And then after this phone call, your belief now is there are two potential targets?
Yes, that's correct.
What was Zach or Montrose, what was his response when the defendant said that he wanted to take care of both problems?
He paused and looked at both of us and shrugged his shoulders and put his hands up like he was not aware of this was new information to him.
Okay. And so what was your response to that?
We told him I couldn't talk, but I made the motion like this, like to keep talking. And he said, okay, and then continued with the conversation.
So based on the body language and the eye contact that Montrose made with you, was it your impression that he was surprised that the defendant wanted you to take care of both problems?
Yes.
After this conversation, is that when the meeting occurred at the Olive Garden?
Yes, it did the following day.
And I think you mentioned that you were not present for the Olive Garden.
I was not.
And then were you present for the subsequent phone calls or the meeting at the Willowick condo? Were you present for those?
No.
Afterwards, after you meet with Zach, after the Olive Garden meeting, do you leave town and then return?
Yes.
And then at our office's request, do you obtain a search warrant for electronic devices that were recovered in this investigation?
Yes, I did.
Did you, and without saying what was said, did you have a conversation during the course of your investigation with an individual by the name of Laura Thurlow?
Yes.
And did you take a statement from her?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And after submitting the phones, talking with Laura, and doing the other things, did that end your involvement with the investigation portion?
Yes.
Your Honor, I pass the witness.
Mr. Warren.
Yes, Judge. Briefly, Officer, I believe that you issued subpoenas for bank records,
I did.
and you issued subpoenas for witnesses
Yes.
and phone records.
Yes.
All right. And let me talk to you a little bit about this ring.
I'm sorry, the what?
Yeah, ring.
Oh, the ring, yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Do you know if in fact that is the exact ring that Zach received, or did Zach swap that ring out for another ring?
That's the ring Mr. Z gave me. I don't know for sure if that's the same ring that was given to him, but he told me it was.
All right. And if that's, obviously, if he told you it was the same ring and it was not, he's not telling you the truth, right, about the ring.
That would be correct, yeah.
Further, Judge.
You're subject to recall, sir.
Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.